So today I'm going to be talking about my informative speech and just polishing it up. So my informative speech is about immigration. So immigration's always been a very sensitive and personal topic to myself, and the reason why is because my father was deported when I was at the age of 9, so it was really hard going through that process of having a dad and always being with him, to seeing him in jail, to having to call him from Guatemala and sometimes visiting him. Having the personal experience of being in an immigrated family is really hard and very difficult, because you see people with their parents and they're not grateful for what they have at the moment. It's like, come on, open your eyes, please. I've always seen it like that because of just what I've gone through, just having people see me as like not having a father, or a father that did something bad in the United States. And it's not that. Immigration is something that people sacrifice themselves, kind of a gutsy decision for them to make with their own family. The backstory why people come to the United States is because just having that dream of being an American is something that they probably want, or simply just having safety, even if it's just like just one person, a teenager that wants to go to the United States and their family doesn't want to go with them. It's something that's really hard, because they got into drugs, or they simply know somebody that's in drugs and they're about to get like attacked or something because they know the person that did something wrong. Just having that fear upon yourself is really scary, and going over the border and figuring that out and trying to start fresh is something that's very gutsy to be able to do that. So the way that they get to the border, I have actually a family member that does everything like that and helps out. So what they have to do is they have to pay a coyote, that's what they're called, and they transfer them from where they're from to the border. Sometimes they switch off. So somebody, like, if, for example, if I decide to pass the border and let's say my aunt was a coyote and she was going to pass me over, but she didn't want to go that far, and so she handed me to somebody else that she trusted, and then that person gets you over. Sometimes if you don't want to pass the border, if you want to spend more money, you can get a fake passport. They will get you a fake passport, and you will travel with them. I know, really weird, but you get the opportunity to at least go over and not get caught easily. Nowadays, with the whole situation of just immigration, the immigration program, and just having that ability to do stuff is kind of coming down. In Phoenix, June 8th, so a couple months ago, last month, Phoenix got 2 girls from Guatemala that they tried to pass the border, and they got caught by the ICE department, kind of the policemen, and they left them in just this, they were in their custody, and suddenly one of the girl, Roxana, had pneumonia. They held her for 5 days, and after she crossed the border, so it was really fresh of walking and doing stuff, and so them having to be in this just not safety place is something that was really difficult for them. And 5 days within that they were there, she died. And people are trying to fight that, and people from Guatemala are just not knowing what to do. They're trying to fight the United States, or just everything's happening. They're trying to fight for those 2 girls' lives, because they were in the custody of the United States, and I totally understand that. It's like, if we're in the custody of the United States and somebody passed the border and we were in there, I feel like it should be upon the United States. If it was us and theirs, it would be upon them. It's like it goes vice versa. So the process that they have to go through is a lot. They have to find the person, they have to find the money, they have to find the family member in the United States. When they arrive to the United States, that's the difficult part. They have to start finding a place to live if they don't have anybody here, and they're just starting fresh, just pure out, like, bones ground up and everything. They have to find a place. Specifically, they have to start finding a job immediately, and that's meaning trying to find a illegal place that will accept illegal people, like immigrants, and just having to go through that and trying to find something that is very okay about it. And yeah, I totally understand that it's not okay. It's something that nobody should be doing it overall. Immigrant families go through a lot. Me being in an immigrant family is something really hard. When my dad got deported, I felt shame, felt guilt, I felt resentment to myself, and the reason why is because I was the last person that saw my dad. Being the last one of the family and the one that was always closest to him, I thought that I was the reason why he got deported, and I was the reason why he wanted a better life for us. And just having the fear afterwards of maybe my mom getting deported or my brother, and eventually my brother did get deported. It was really, really scary, just having to look back to back, like just seeing like where I'm at, like cops around, like finding stuff out. We had to move a lot, and that was the sucky part, because when we moved to Logan, we only moved twice, and it was from our apartment to our house, and then my dad got caught there. So we moved to my aunt's house and stayed there for a while, and it was really, really hard because living with family for quite a while is something that not a lot of people want to do because they feel like they're just like being a bother, and my family is very prideful with that. And so we moved from there, and then we went to this other apartment that we stayed at for like maybe 3 years, and then we started feeling we were to get caught, and so we're like, okay, we're moving out. Then we moved into a family friend's house, and we felt very uncomfortable. And then we moved out, and then we went to our last apartment that we were all together, and something big happened in our family, and my sister and I moved out by ourselves. Ever since then, I've always grown up, and so that was the age of like 13. Just having to move a lot is really, really sad because you're just always looking, and you're just always like trying to observe of whether something is there or something is not there, and just having the fear is kind of really, really nerve-wracking. So Trump says something about resisting a growing wrath for separating migrant families. Migrate. So on June 18th of 2018, he spoke about...
This coffee comes from Kenya. 6,000...
Sorry. He was in Washington, and he was saying about how the border should be our number one cause. So he says, quote unquote, "They could be murderers and thieves and so much more," Mr. Trump said, of the people crossing the border. We want a safe country, and it starts with the border, and that's the way it is. So having him, I totally understand that we want a safe country, and people always tend to say that people that are immigrants should go back to their country and fix their own problems. But it's the same situation here. We're trying to fix our own problems by having our taxes, our housing, like drugs, gangs, like there's problems everywhere in the United States, or around the world, and like, do you see a random person fixing drugs, fixing gangs, fixing the taxes, just fixing random stuff like that? Yeah, you can, but it's really rare to see that. And so in Guatemala specifically, my parents being from there, it's something that is really hard to fix because my parents could just be walking and somebody can see them and they suspect something and they'll just shoot them or they'll rob from them. So it's really, really complicated to fix situations like that because once you get shot, well, you're dead. So separated families, it hurts a lot of people in the family, and it hurts the families. It hurts the person that is getting immigrated, is getting deported to their home. So the way that my father felt was something that he never thought he would ever feel, and it was being separated from his family, being away from us, feeling lonely, feeling abandoned, and it was really, really hard for our family, and it still is to this day. And I remembered when we went to the jail and we saw him, it was really hard. Like the first time, I did not know what to do. I was scared. I was sad. I felt like it was all on me. I still to this day think it's all on me, and it's not the best thing to think of, but I struggled with that all my life with my parents, and I just simply didn't know what to do until I turned 15, and I officially told myself it was not your fault, it was nobody's fault. It happened, and it was in the past, and now we just have to keep going forward and seeing what we can do now. And yeah, it's just really, really hard to go through it by yourself and not knowing what to do. Families do go through a lot, but families that want a better life for their children is very different. I think they go through a harder life, and it's true because they just push and push and push to try to give their kids a better life or simply themselves a better life. And it is really hard, but if they come in the right way and leave the wrong way, well, it happens. Just try again. But if they come in the bad way, well, it's either way, go back the bad way or they'll get married to somebody, and simple as that. Having the thought of being without my family has changed me a lot, and I think immigration has been a big part of my life, and it will always be the biggest part of my life. And I believe that people that want a better life will pursue it and will always try to fight.